come against St. Francis, PA at Ryder in the MAC, and against Iona last win for them. Sacred Heart 5-11, 1-6 in the MAC. Their last win was in Buffalo against Canisius. Since then, the loss at St. Peter's, Siena, Mount St. Mary's, and Merrimack. The Canisius Golden Griffins with the opening tip. Franca Wittenberg goes up against Jaela Johnson. She feeds it to the paint. Nicira Pryor goes for the steal. It's a tie-up. The arrow to the Pioneers as we take a look at the starting five for the Canisius Golden Griffins. Went 17-14 last year, 11-9 in MAC play. The 5 seed in last year's MAC tournament. Jaela Johnson, Miriam Sonogo, Corey Santoro, along with Sarah Carvajal Caro and Shariah Gales. The Pioneers looking to snap that skid, led by Nicira Pryor. Nalise Dudley gets the start in the front court. Sierra Johnson, Amelia Wood, part of the starting five for the Pioneers, and Emma Kirby. Nalise Dudley lays it in for the first points of the game. Franca Wittenberg gets it back, and she's wide open for three, and she drains it.
That is a good-looking shot right there, just being shot ready by Randolph.
This is a Canisius team 11th in the MAC at 26% from downtown. Pioneers last in the league at 22%. But an early three going down for Canisius. Nicira Pryor looking for the corner three. The rebound for Carvajal Caro. Underneath to Sonogo. Her shot altered by Kirby from the free throw line. Sarah Carvajal Caro missed the open look, and a foul is whistled underneath.
And Carvajal Caro, you saw her take that 15-footer. She has that ability to stretch the defense, and they're definitely going to be looking to her, especially with that presence she has inside the paint.
Wittenberg on the line after the shoe foul. First foul on Sacred Heart goes to Sierra Johnson as we take a look at the keys tonight for the visitors from Canisius.
Well, for Canisius, first off, pressure and forced turnovers. Sacred Heart struggles against pressure, and they average about 17 turnovers per game. And the second one is get back in transition. Coach Tiffany Swafford said we need to get back because Sacred Heart is a team that can push place.
5-2 Canisius. Both free throws good for a good free throw shooting team. 6th in the MAC, but as of late, knocking down their freebies. Almost 80% in MAC play. Amelia Wood on the backdoor cut. That's an offensive foul on Wood. Getting to the spot, Yasmin Jabril came off the bench and absorbs the charge.
Really good job by Jabril, just setting her feet and taking that charge.
Let's take a look at keys for Shu.
For Sacred Heart, crash the boards. They average about 13 offensive boards per game. That's been an area that they've been excellent in. Second, take care of the basketball. Simple as that.
2 team fouls on Sacred Heart as Jaela Johnson takes a three. The 7th-year player. She went through 2 medical red shirts and the COVID year. In transition, Sierra Johnson gets 2 back for Sacred Heart. What a story Jaela Johnson is, averaging almost 11 points in MAC play to come play for her coach Tiffany Swafford, who she played for as an assistant at Toledo. And it's a 10-4 lead for Canisius. Johnson underneath for Emma Kirby. And another offensive foul whistled against Sacred Heart. A little discard by Sierra Johnson, who has 2 quick fouls, and Faith Pappas is going to come in.
You see Sierra Johnson confused there, how she got called. Emma Kirby wide open inside the paint. We've seen that a lot. If they could get downhill and draw that secondary defender, they seem to find Emma Kirby there open most of the time.
Diane Crespo-Lopez enters the game for the Pioneers along with Faith Pappas.
Some quick subs here for Sacred Heart.
Gales. She dishes to Irene Ray Pineda. Into the block, Ray Pineda. Finds Mary Koppel. Koppel's pass, good ball movement there by Canisius. It goes to the outside to Gales. And then inside for the lay-in.
Really nice ball movement, just making the extra pass and being unselfish for Canisius.
Crespo Lopez pulls up in the paint and gets the friendly roll off the front rim.
Especially as a freshman, you've seen Crespo Lopez just gain more confidence and looking for her shot a lot more.
This is a Canisius team with a deep bench, averaging just under 21 points off the bench. Crespo Lopez with a rebound. Pryor with a push. Dishing underneath to Kirby. She slipped in under two defenders for the lay-in.
That's what makes Nicira Pryor lethal, is she draws defenders.
Gales loses the ball and commits the charge. Diane Crespo Lopez gets to the spot and draws the foul on Gales.
Coach Minetti has talked a lot about how Crespo Lopez just brings that energy spark off the bench, and you could see it right off the bat, especially right here, digging in and getting herself to take that charge.
And it's the little things that go a long way when you're struggling, and the Pioneers certainly are defending. Well, they won't have a chance to defend it. They're in a new league, but they won the last two NEC championships in their final years in the Northeast Conference. Picked middle of the pack in the MAC. Pappas a three from the corner. It spins out. Struggling now, stuck on one league win. Sierra Johnson is still on the floor in foul trouble, and that was a wise play, a good take by Johnson, recognizing it. Sierra Johnson with 5:20 to go in the first, on the bench with 3 personal fouls already.
And that is a tough one for Sacred Heart, especially Sierra Johnson, who has been an exceptional role player, but also taking a lot more shots for this Sacred Heart team.
Told you about Jaela Johnson. In her 7th year of eligibility, Coach Swafford coached her at Toledo, and it was Jaela Johnson who sort of recruited herself, calling Tiffany Swafford saying, I love playing for you, I learned so much, I loved your energy, and I want to come use my last year of eligibility up in Buffalo with Canisius with you, Coach.
Well, you know what, Randy? In the short amount of time we spoke to Coach Swafford, I feel like I would want to play for her too. You could just feel how passionate she is and the energy that she brings to this team.
And a veteran play from Johnson on a team with 15 new players. A team that Tiffany Swafford in her first year expected to have their rough patches, but the goal is to play your best basketball now. And Canisius is doing a great job on both sides of the floor. That's Jabril again taking the charge, drawing a foul on Nalise Dudley.
I am loving Jabril's defensive effort. That is 2 times that she has taken a charge. Just really doing all the little things.
5 team fouls on Sacred Heart with just over 5 minutes to play in the first. 14-8 Canisius. Miriam Sinogo with the basketball. Ray Pineda, the handoff. Koppel to the free throw line for Jabril. Pryor is all over Koppel. And then she takes it away. Another steal for Nicira Pryor, 9th in the nation, now with 58. And she gets stopped underneath. Canisius got back defensively. Ray Pineda beats everybody down the floor on the fast break for the lay-in.
Pineda pushing it up the floor. You've seen Canisius playing a lot quicker, whether that's in the half court or full transition.
Pryor hangs in the paint, and she draws the foul on Yasmin Jabril. Free throws coming for Pryor when we come back. Canisius is
both at the Power 5 and mid-major, but she talked about it. She's like, look, year one is not easy. You're putting a lot of different pieces together. In that Fairfield game, that first half was amazing, but the second half wasn't great.
Jessica Minetti on the other sideline in year 12 as the Sacred Heart head coach, having led the Pioneers to 2 NEC championships the last 2 seasons prior to this, their first year in the MAC. Nicira Pryor averaging just under 19 points a game this year. 2 for 2 from the line out of the media timeout. Pryor became just the 8th player in program history to reach 1,500 points. Next on the list, coming into today, 19 away from Caitlin Sowinski and then 29 away from Aliso Appo. 2 very big names in the history of this program. Koppel turns it over, tried to force it inside to Carvajal Caro, stolen by Nalise Dudley, the sophomore from New London, Connecticut. Pryor drives off the window, and it spins out for her.
And with Canisius being a young team, sometimes you'll find some of those forced passes inside the paint.
Wittenberg's pass off the hands of Irene Ray Pineda. A turnover on the part of Canisius. And they are going to sub in. Are they subbing in 5 players right now? I mean, I told you they have a deep bench. They're going for a full line change.
And they're trying to figure. I'm not a hockey person. You know this. You're teaching me something new every day, so.
Well, it's a big weekend here, hockey-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Connecticut Ice Tournament this weekend at Martiri Family Arena.
And who's going to be working?
Working all 4 games. Canisius is pretty good hockey school, too. Longtime rivals of Sacred Heart, the men's hockey and the Atlantic Hockey America Conference. Pryor follows her miss and lays it up. Second attempt doesn't go. Santoro, the rebound for the Golden Griffins.
That's where Canisius has to box out in every possession, and Coach Swafford said, look, Nicira Pryor's going to get her shots, but it's what type of shots and making every single look difficult for her.
Yasmin Jabril, the high-to-low pass. Gales posting up on Pryor. Pryor stopped her first attempt, but then Gales rips the loose ball down and puts it back for 2.
My goodness. Shayla Gales with the physicality inside the paint, just chasing after her own rebound and finishing at the rim.
Grace John running the point for the Pioneers. Pryor moving to the 2. Nalise Dudley, wing 3, front iron. Jaela Johnson, the rebound. And this Canisius team has been rebounding well of late. They're 9th overall in the MAC, 32.7 rebounds per game. But they've won the rebounding battle in their last 3 MAC contests. Carmen Williams subs in for the Pioneers as Pryor goes to the bench for a brief break. Faith Pappas in for Sacred Heart. Following the foul whistled against the Pioneers. Putting Gales on the line. Emma Kirby also quickly in. She replaces Esther Kersite out there for a brief appearance.
And you're seeing different players for Sacred Heart who haven't played as much but stepping into bigger roles right now. That's why you always got to be ready. You never know when your number is called.
And that foul on Dudley, her second personal. So Sierra Johnson, a starter, on the bench early. 3 very quick fouls. Now Dudley to the bench with 2. And those role players, Idona that you mentioned, forced in to a tight spot here. You're losing at home, trying to snap a 4-game skid and down 9 right now to Canisius.
And you know what? That's why these circumstances, situations are good to happen early on in the season, especially conference play, because come February, March, you never know what can happen.
A press by Canisius results in a foul. Pass was going to John. Team foul number 3 for the Golden Griffins. Sage Randolph committing it, her first personal. Williams got bumped underneath by Jabril, and they're going to whistle Jabril for a foul.
Take a look at this. Carmen Williams trying to get to the basket, and Jabril just gets caught with the hip check right there. One thing you're seeing from Canisius is the presence inside the paint, the height, the physicality, just really taking up that space and taking away those drives for Sacred Heart right now.
Carmen Williams inbounding to Grace John, who's appeared in 14 games but averages under 7 minutes a game. She drives and kicks. Williams with 10 to shoot. To the left-hand scoop. An air ball and out of bounds.
You see Sacred Heart is getting their feet into the paint, but that's where they're going to have to make an extra pass out. Go inside out, get some paint touches, and then look for that outside look.
Sacred Heart now 4 for 13 from the floor, just under 31%, which is just about where their field goal shooting is this year, 11th in the conference at .302. 2 minutes left in the first. Johnson off the glass for two, and Jaela Johnson averaging 9.5 points a game.
That pick and roll by Gales and Johnson just so tough because Johnson really attracts a lot of the defense getting downhill.
Jaela Johnson with 7 in the opening quarter. Pappas feeds it inside to Kirby, the most efficient field goal shooter for the Pioneers. Defended well by Jabril, but she wills it in for two.
Emma Kirby, you mentioned the efficiency. She just able to finish through contact.
A three for Corey Santoro. 5 points a game for Santoro. She had a 14-point game against Siena, and the senior guard has her 23rd three-point basket of the season. Williams forces another scoop shot. Defended all the way by Alex Moses.
The biggest thing is Canisius is making extra passes, getting wide open looks, and knocking down those three-point shots, where Sacred Heart is forcing a little bit too much in the paint right now.
Up to a 12-point lead for Canisius. Jabril pulls up in the paint off the front rim. Carmen Williams the rebound for the Pioneers. Crespo Lopez calling for it on the fast break. Jabril got to the spot to take away her space. A bounce pass into the paint. Pappas off the glass. No good. Jabril the defensive rebound. On to Jaela Johnson.
That's
Canisius has their set.
That's where Crespo Lopez should have looked at that mid-range, especially against Jabril inside the paint, who's fit bigger, stronger, taller. You want to look at that mid-range shot.
Shot clock down to 14. Sacred Heart looking for a stop and to get the ball back for the final shot of the quarter. And they force the turnover on Johnson. Nycera Pryor in for the final 14.7 seconds of the first quarter in favor of Williams. And again, massive substitutions from Canisius.
What a great effort by Jaela Johnson. Just efficient from the field, 2 of 2. 2 for 2 from the free throw line as well.
Koppel guards Pryor, down to 6 to go in the quarter. Jabril now gets Pryor on a switch. Pull up for Nycera Pryor's an air ball, and that's the first quarter. A strong opening quarter on the road for the visitors. Canisius doubles up shoot, 24-12 in the first 10 minutes.
Look at this defense.
They're 0 for 3 from behind the arc.
Well, you've seen Canisius just going inside, outside, opening up their looks and capitalizing, converting those shots, and credit to them, 3 of 3.
And a couple of Pioneers in early foul trouble. Sierra Johnson to the bench with 3 personal fouls in the first 5 minutes of the game. Nalise Dudley also on the bench with 2. It's a 24-12 lead for Canisius. Wittenberg had one of the threes. She loses it. Pryor takes it away. Pioneers looking to push. She fires a pass underneath to Kirby, and then John fumbles it. It's out of bounds as Kirby tried to hit John with it. Defended out of bounds. Possession stays with the Pioneers.
And Sacred Heart is at their best when they're able to push pace and play in transition. Every time they've had to go against a set Canisius defense, they've had trouble getting some shots off.
Pryor inbounds. Crespo Lopez feeds Kirby, and she loses it right into the hands of Ray Pineda. Getting back, Faith Pappas disrupts along with Crespo Lopez and John. Fast break to Pryor. Through the contact and off the glass for 2.
Especially against Canisius, who have struggled to get back in transition. That is the way to dominate if you're Sacred Heart, is to capitalize in that area.
A 10-point lead for Canisius. And the Pioneers want to play faster. Nobody plays faster out there than Pryor.
That is on point.
An air ball by Mary Koppel. Esther Kersite quickly back into the game for the Pios.
And to that point, Randy, I feel like with Pryor, she'll be down on one end, and I turn my head, and she's already at the other side.
When you get a good defensive effort as you did from the Pioneers, they're getting the stop. You've got Nycera Pryor beating everyone down the floor. That's how you pick up that tempo that this coaching staff wants to see.
Especially when you force tough shots against Canisius, and they're not able to make those. Off of a miss, it's so much easier to get those runouts and play in transition, especially when Pryor gets that rebound.
Sarah Carvajal-Caro commits the foul, reaching in, trying to disrupt Esther Kersite. First team foul on Canisius of the second quarter. It's a young team out there for the Pioneers right now with Crespo Lopez And Kersite and John. John, a transfer from Barton Community College, but the other two new players, first years. And, of course, the veteran Pryor in her junior year. This is a Sacred Heart team, though, last year that had veteran leadership. Olivia Tucker was such an efficient three-point shooter, brought that kind of grit. Sajeda Bonner, a terrific three-point shooter and just a very mature veteran player with a lot of leadership qualities. Right now, a young team out there trying to develop and find an emerging leader. Down 26-14. Behind the back, Pryor fades away. No good.
Whew, that was a beautiful move.
And another steal by Pryor. Pappas, one more pass to John. Driving baseline. Kicking to Crespo Lopez. Pryor to Pappas. Good ball movement here for the Pioneers, but no good on the three ball. Crespo Lopez gets back in the defensive backcourt for the steal.
Lots of back and forth here, but when you see Sacred Heart can move the ball like that, they are forcing some rotations.
Little hezzy move by Pryor. She had an open look, but it rolls off the rim for her. Carvajal Caro the rebound.
And that's what hurts. 2 empty possessions down the line right there, not able to knock down those easier looks that they've been able to get.
7.5 to go in the first half. Wittenberg, 10 to shoot. Taking on John. She finds Carvajal Caro. The jump shot from the elbow. No good. Pryor to John. Up the floor. Grace John. Kick out Pryor. She swings it to Crespo Lopez, who pulls up from the baseline. No good. Sonogo the rebound. Crespo Lopez with great energy. Didn't have that shot fall. Pretty good look for her. But back again, working hard and nearly stealing it from Sonogo.
And what I've noticed is whether it's Nicera Pryor or Crespo Lopez tacking in the middle of the paint, somebody needs to fill the corners to give them an outlet pass to kick it out.
Sierra Johnson comes back on the floor with 3 personals and 7:09 to play in the second. Tough way to play, right? Long time left. You really have to be tentative defensively. And if you're Canisius, you recognize that she's got 3 fouls. Johnson takes a 3 and knocks it down. They are 4 for 4 from deep, and Canisius has a 29-14 lead.
And I can see why Tiffany Swafford talked about how she's one of the emerging leaders for this team.
Pappas gets the feed from Pryor. Sierra Johnson directing traffic. She wants someone to clear some space for her. Kersite with 2 on the shot clock. Strong. 6 for 24 are the Pioneers from the floor here in this game.
They've gotten the looks, but some of them have been forced or contested.
Moses nearly stumbled into a travel. She avoids it. Shot clock down to 10. Jaela Johnson already 3 for 3 from the floor. 2 for 2 from deep for 10 points. On the ball defense by Grace John. And the shot clock is down to 3 with Canisius holding the possession. Tiffany Swafford's going to use the timeout in a second. And they are being outscored 5-2 in the second. On the other side, Jaela Johnson playing with Riz tonight. 3 for 3 from the floor. 2 for 2 from deep. 2 for 2 from the free throw line. 10 points for Jaela Johnson. And a shot clock violation. Canisius called the timeout, presumably because there was 3 on the shot clock, and then seemingly forgot.
I'm sorry, I was too focused on you saying Riz that I couldn't focus on what you just said. But
did that work
to
out
our
right?
viewers, I give Randy a word of the day before every game, and today it was Riz. Last game it was Slay.
I'm learning all sorts of great new terms. Riz is like short for charisma.
Yeah, sure.
Something like that.
You're hip.
I am so hip. Sierra Johnson has 4 to shoot. She slips inside, and she beats the defender For the lay-in, Sierra Johnson gets the third and fourth points of the second quarter for Shoe. No good for Jaela Johnson into the contact. Her first miss today. Pryor quickly up the floor.
I love Jaela Johnson's game. So aggressive going to the rim. Just very crafty.
Sierra Johnson looking to beat Gales. Kersite in the paint. It doesn't fall for Kersite. She was open. Shooting 43% from the floor. Little baby jump shot, spins out. And then turned over to Kersite. Gales inadvertently threw it right to the defender. Pryor inside. She beats two, slipping underneath the defenders for the lay-in.
Nicere Pryor makes it look so easy, snaking through the defense. She'll go to the left side, but end up on the right side of the rim. And you're just like, how?
Pryor has 6. Drive to the basket for Santoro. She stopped. The Pioneers looking for 3 straight productive possessions. Pappas straight away. In and out for 3. Sacred Heart still does not have a three-pointer today. 0 for 5.
And Pappas is a three-point shooter. That is her shot, but just has been struggling as of late. 1 of 6 against St. Peter. So sometimes it just takes to see one go through to build that confidence to keep taking them.
Amelia Wood still on the bench with her 2 personals as well. 2 very quick ones for Wood. Jabril gets stopped. Kersite with the defense, with Wood, Johnson, and Dudley all in foul trouble. These first-year players like Kersite seeing significant minutes here in the first half. Pryor turns it over. Jabril with a takeaway. Jaela Johnson to the cup for 2 more, and she has 12. Timeout, Jessica Minetti. .31.
Sacred Heart right there. There's got to be better communication on the defensive end. And I feel like this has been the storyline for Sacred Heart, not being able to produce, not being able to knock down shots. And what does that do? Puts a lot of pressure on the defense to be perfect, and there's not much room for error.
Amelia Wood limited to just 2 minutes in the first half with the 2 early fouls. Sierra Johnson playing with 3 fouls. Nicere Pryor hangs on to the basketball. The up fake by Crespo Lopez. John's open for 3, and Sacred Heart is 0 for 6 from deep. And a strong move to the rim by Jaela Johnson taking over. She has 14.
I don't know if you saw that, Randy, but that change of pace right there at that elbow, the way she pounded, so impressive.
Sierra Johnson misses the 3. Pryor racing over to the Canisius bench trying to save it. Ends up with a member of the coaching staff.
I thought she was going to take a seat there for a second.
Just a brief rest. She barely comes out, 32.5 minutes per game, and even on the other sideline, as she falls into the bench, she's right back up. Kersite with a block. Kersite hasn't been able to knock down shots, but defensively, she's given the Pioneers a lift.
And she's bringing that presence, and you see the timeliness of her defensive movement in the block.
Look at the move by Sierra Johnson. In for 2 after she fell Corey Santoro to the floor with her crossover.
All right, Sierra, talk to him nice.
Santoro looking for the answer. Kersite battles for the rebound. She's the last to touch. Franco Wittenberg battling her along the baseline, maintains the possession for Canisius.
Sierra Johnson just hesitates right there, gets her defender on the floor, and goes all the way to the rack.
Sierra Johnson 3 for 4 from the floor for 6 points. They need more from her. More moves like that, more selfish play. And I say that in a good way. You want her to want the shot.
You needed more from her, more from everybody, quite frankly. We talk about how a lot of the pressure falls on a Nicere Pryor, but truthfully, you need other players to step up and especially knock down some outside shots. 0 for 7 from the three-point line.
Grace John was looking to draw a charge, but the foul goes against her. Jaela Johnson to the line. looking to add to her very productive first half with just under 2 minutes left in the second quarter. 73% free throw shooter this year.
Jaela Johnson's just been so efficient, and part of that comes from her good decision-making, when to attack, when to pass it, when to shoot it. Just overall a really smart player.
She goes 1 for 2 from the line. Koppel back in for Canisius. Carmen Williams re-enters for the Pioneers. Just 2 minutes from Carmen Williams, who has started 9 of the 15 games she's appeared in, but limited action here in the first. 1:45 left in the half. Emma Kirby finds Williams. 10 to shoot for Johnson. She draws 3. She finds Pryor. Williams in rhythm. Off the mark for 3. Offensive rebound. Jaela Johnson. Baby jump shot doesn't go. Kirby battling underneath. A second offensive rebound. 1:20 left in the half.
Jaela Johnson's just going to work inside the paint.
Pryor, the hesitation move, draws contact. And Nyseer Pryor goes to the line. And she gets to the line a lot. Coming into today, 79 made free throws in 113 trips.
She can get herself to the line. That's one of the areas of her game where she is most effective, and that's where Sacred Heart just needs to keep attacking the rim.
No good on the first attempt after the foul by Franca Wittenberg.
There also needs to be a balance that Sacred Heart needs to find from the outside shooting, but also getting to the rim.
Sacred Heart as a team, 61% from the free throw line, last in the MAC. Pryor goes 0 for 2.
The free shots, you've got to make those, especially when the clock's not moving.
Down to 1 minute in the half. 34-20, Canisius by 14. Koppel steps back for 3. No good. Jaela Johnson with a box out, allowing Pryor to come down with a board. Pryor ahead for Kirby against 2. She misses. Follows up her own shot, and Kirby's fouled.
And you see the frustration from Emma Kirby just missing that bunny, but really nice rim running from Emma Kirby, and then Nyseer Pryor just finding her in transition.
Now, a lot of this has to do with Canisius having the ability to get a lot of rebounds because Sacred Heart's missing so many shots. But look at the rebounding discrepancy in the first half, 25-13 in favor of Canisius.
And that, like you mentioned, obviously Sacred Heart is missing a lot of shots, so they're able to get those runouts a lot easier. But credit to Canisius and just pursuing the basketball.
Kirby goes 1 for 2. So the Pioneers trailing now by 13. Have 2 trips to the line down the stretch and only get 1 point out of the 4 attempts. 40 seconds left in the half. Canisius up 13. Led by the young lady with the ball, Jaela Johnson, who has 15 on 5 of 6 shooting. Pryor guards her. Strength on strength.
That is a fun matchup to see between those two.
Koppel with 9 to shoot, guarded by Williams. Ray Pineda in the corner, feeds Jabril on the block. That ball with 2 on the shot clock ends up with Gales. It's a shot clock violation. The Pioneers get the stop with 12.3 on the clock and a chance to cut into a 13-point deficit with a final shot.
And that was their best defensive possession I've seen from Sacred Heart, just the communication, the rotations, moving on the flight of the ball.
Down to 4 seconds. Pryor for 3, looking for the first three-pointer of the half for the Pioneers. Instead, they're 0 for 9 through the first 20 minutes. And Canisius leads 34-21 at halftime.
Jaela Johnson for Canisius, high clip, but for Canisius, they've taken those and have been able to knock them down. So that has made this slight difference despite them having 14 turnovers and Sacred Heart only 5 turnovers, which has helped.
Jessica Minetti starting 5 out there to begin the second, and the Pioneers have work to do. Pryor gets the screen from Wood, trying to get to the spot. She's defending by Carvajal Caro. It's underneath. Pryor, count it, and the foul. And an early energy play, 11 seconds in as Pryor goes to the line, looking for the and one.
Nyseera Pryor doing what she does best, putting her head down and getting to the rim, just pump faking right there midair. She's ready for the second half. You can see it in her face, in her eyes, just with the intensity that she's playing with.
Down to a 10-point game as she makes good. On the old-fashioned three-point play, 50-50 ball after the Pioneers go for the double. Pryor with a tie-up. Jump ball. The arrow favors Canisius, but the Pioneers playing inspired in the first 19 seconds of the second half.
And Sacred Heart starting off with full court pressure, trapping that first pass, trying to create some turnovers. And while they have been creating some turnovers, they haven't converted those into points off of turnovers.
Dudley going for the steal, and it's back to the Pioneers. She did not touch it. Going up as they aired it out for Santoro at 5'5", putting up a jump ball essentially against Nalise Dudley, who stands 5'11". And the Pioneers forced the turnover. Meanwhile, the last foul against Canisius was Wittenberg's. She's got 3 personal. She's gone on the bench.
And this is also a good test for Canisius, having a good first half. Can they put 40 minutes of basketball together?
Pryor draws a foul on the floor. Jaela Johnson guarding her too tight. First personal on Johnson. Second team foul on Canisius. Sierra Johnson inbound. Sierra Johnson going 3 for 5 from the floor in the first half. Bounce pass underneath. Dudley lays it in. The Pioneers on a little run here. A little more than 30 seconds into the half. They're going full court press again. Broken by Canisius. Worked underneath. The spin move by Sonogo. No good, but the putback is in for Sarah Carvajal-Caro.
Carvajal-Caro literally caught that with one hand and just put it right back up.
6'3" forward from Spain and a transfer from Troy. The spin by Pryor and the kiss off the glass for 2. Nyseera Pryor up to 11 points.
Nyseera Pryor's just fearless getting to the rim.
Sonogo with a reverse layup on Dudley.
And they started off to a good start here, Sacred Heart, getting some stops, and you see that direct correlation on the offensive end, the way they've been getting some quality looks, but they can't trade baskets, especially here in this second half.
10-point lead for Canisius. Pryor wants a screen and roll for Kirby. Slow developing, so back outside to Johnson. Into a double team against Kirby. And the ball is out of bounds, knocked out by Miriam Sonogo. Stays with the Pioneers.
Look, this is only a 10-point game for Sacred Heart. If you're able to string along some stops, some buckets, but also if you're Canisius, time and score, continue playing the basketball that they've been playing, which is literally dominating inside the paint.
And they run such a deep bench, they get Jabril and Gales in. 2 new forwards. And another Canisius foul. Koppel commits her second. Inbounds to Amelia Wood. Koppel on her. Pryor draws 2 and turns it over. Looking for the foul. Santoro had it come right to her for the steal.
And Canisius over helping on that drive, especially on Pryor, because they've seen her do it from time and time again.
Jaela Johnson, no look behind the back. Jabril spinning on Kirby to her left. Beautiful shot. Yasmin Jabril, the first year from Montreal, with a lay-in.
Jabril just has such good body control, the ball handling skills at her physicality and height.
Wood misses the 3, and Sacred Heart is 0 for 10 from deep. Nyseera Pryor gets back, intercepted. She takes it away from Gales. Pryor pulls up. Too strong. Offensive rebound, Kirby. Jaela Johnson bullying her way in. Rejected by Jabril. Wood goes for the steal. And it's back to the Pioneers. Last touch by Johnson, diving for the loose ball.
Especially on an offensive rebound right there, you don't want to attack inside the paint again because that's where the defense is. You want to kick it out and get an outside shot.
Yeah, this Canisius defense has been tough down low.
And you
Pryor
see,
in particular drawing doubles and sometimes triple teams.
And they've just been flooding the paint because they know Sacred Heart is primarily a driving team.
Esther Kersite back on the floor for the Pioneers. Awkward exchange, but Pryor keeps the possession. Johnson can't shake free from Santoro. Down to 9 on the shot clock. Kersite sets the screen. Johnson pops from the elbow. No good. Gales with the rebound. Canisius by 12. Johnson. It's the high ball screen from Gales. Johnson meets Johnson. Sierra going up against Jaela. The spinning kick to Jabril. Baseline jump shot, and she lets it hang after making the shot.
Jabril, 53% from the field, and you can see the way that she has the ability to step out and stretch that defense.
Back to a 14-point lead for Canisius, 42-28, the Golden Griffins. Jaela Johnson all over Nicira Pryor. Esther Kersite lost the ball. Jabril poked it out of her hands, but Kersite's able to protect. Pryor comes around the screen and misses. A defensive board for Gales. Fast break ahead to Koppel. A skip to the corner. Santoro into the paint. Over 2 defenders to Jabril for the lay-in.
A good pass by Santoro. She draws Kersite to come to her and gets Jabril open.
Pryor ahead to Dudley, fouled by Jabril. 4th team foul on Canisius. Faith Pappas and Diane Crespo-Lopez set to check in. Jabril's going to go to the bench along with Gales and Koppel. Free throws coming for Nalise Dudley. Jabril just committed her 2nd personal. Dudley sinks the first. A star at New London High School. Nalise Dudley averaging 5.7 points a game. She's had her struggles from the free throw line at 45%, but right there, 2 for 2.
And that's been the story we talked about for Sacred Heart, as much as they're trying to get stops right here, but just when you're not able to shoot, and Canisius just answering right back, but when you're not able to shoot from the outside, it makes it hard to sustain a level of production.
That's a power basket by Sarah Carvajal-Caro, and then the Pioneers turn it over. It was tough defense by Kersite. Canisius gets the basket and gets the basketball after the stop. Pryor takes it away on the fast break. Pryor gets stopped. Crespo-Lopez, the offensive rebound. Crespo-Lopez draws a foul. Irene Ray Pineda avoided the initial foul on the drive by Pryor. But Crespo Canisius here on the road to earn their 4th conference win. 3rd conference win, pardon me. Sacred Heart looking to snap a 4-game skid at 1-6 in MAC play.
And you look at the bottom 6, there's a lot of parity within the conference and who's going to get those spots.
Top 10 teams qualify for the MAC tournament. Trying to spend a week in March on the boardwalk. Crespo, 1 for 2 from the free throw line. (46-31) Canisius. Golden Griffins feeding inside to Carvajal Caro. Johnson, who had 14 first half points. And the last touch is on Sacred Heart. Looks like Dudley reached in and knocked it loose with 6 on the shot clock.
And you see if they put Brandon in for Sacred Heart to match up with Caro, especially inside the paint, both same level of physicality.
There's an off-the-ball foul. It's on Nalise Dudley. And that's 3 personals on Dudley. Amelia Wood back into the game. That's the first team foul on the board for Sacred Heart as the officials talk it over and make sure that's correct. Fresh 20 on the clock. We take a look at Dudley, who gets her hand in the face of Corey Santoro.
Yeah, it definitely looked like.
Santoro with the ball. Johnson with 15 tonight. Takes on Wood. She steps back for 3 and rips it. Jaela Johnson having a night. 18 points. And she's 3 for 3 from downtown.
Jaela Johnson's game is just so tremendous in all aspects, offense and on defense.
Amelia Wood driving right of the defense. It spins out. Back to Canisius with an 18-point lead, their game high.
I do want to touch on the rebounds that you mentioned, Randy, because it's a great point. Sacred Heart, a lot of them have been misses, so it's given Canisius these opportunities to get runouts. And you look at Jaela Johnson, does such a good job of coming off those pick and rolls.
Another 3, this time Santoro misses from the corner. Pappas the rebound. Pryor pushes the floor. Johnson gets back to defender. Crespo Lopez inside for Sierra Brannon. Seeing her first minutes. Amelia Wood wide open, looking for that first Pioneer three-pointer. 0-for-11 as a team.
And when you talk about how the three-point shot has revolutionized the game, it's this, in this moment. Sometimes 2-pointers are just not enough. You need those 3-point looks.
From the free throw line, the jump shot by Carvajal Caro rattles out. Offensive rebound, Miriam Sonogo. But she steps on the baseline. Back to the Pioneers. Sierra Johnson re-enters the game in favor of Crespo Lopez. 2 more substitutions, 3 for Canisius. So 3rd runs to the scorer's table to join Gales and Jabril.
And you have to imagine, sorry, Ren, you have to imagine with Natalie Dudley and Sierra Johnson both in foul trouble right now. They're a little bit more tentative on the offensive side, but also on defense, just being afraid probably to foul and earn that one.
3 personals on Dudley. An 18-point lead for Canisius. Wood hesitant on the 3. Fed inside to Sierra Brannon. She pulls up off the front of the rim. A defensive rebound for Gales, her 8th. Fast break for Canisius. Johnson pulls it out. Koppel pops for 3. Offensive rebound, Gales. A 3rd opportunity on this possession. Gales couldn't get it to go. She fights for the rebound with Pryor, who rips it away from Gales.
My goodness, Canisius just out hustling Sacred Heart right now, especially on the glass. The 2nd chance, the 3rd chance opportunities.
Pryor steps around Gales, and Nicera Pryor's up to 13 for the game.
She steps through the defense. No matter who gets in front of her, she gets right through you.
A 16-point lead for Canisius. The pull-up, no good from Johnson. Nicera Pryor with a rebound. She has her 4th rebound, averaging 6 rebounds a game. Johnson to Pryor. Pull-up Jay. She sinks it.
Nice dynamic duo there by Johnson and Pryor. Johnson drives to the rim, gets that kick out, and Nicera Pryor just stepping into it confidently.
That's a Pioneer backcourt that's won 2 championships in the NEC. 14-point lead for Canisius. 1:15 left in the 3rd. Koppel, jab stepping on Johnson. They whistle Johnson for the foul. 3 personals on Sierra Johnson. Sierra Brandon to the bench. Nyseer Pryor off for a break. Emma Kirby and Grace John enter for the Pios. Canisius by 14 in the final minute of the third. Jaela Johnson up to 18 points in the game. Koppel with 6 to shoot. Sierra Johnson guarding her. Grace John gets her on the help. 1 to shoot. A deep 3. And a shot clock violation as Koppel misses the rim.
Better defense there by Sacred Heart, just defending their own player and not allowing some easy drives to the basket. When they play in sync, Sacred Heart looks a lot better.
Cornelia Clay races in. First-year guard from Toledo, Ohio. Second appearance in the game for Clay. 49-35, Canisius the lead. Pryor on the bench for the final 40 seconds of the third quarter. John running point. Pappas draws Johnson defensively. Inside to Kirby, up against Jabril. Sierra Johnson, under 30 seconds to play in the third quarter. Kirby sets the screen for Sierra Johnson. Jabril meets her at the block. Pappas one more pass. Grace John, a 3, and an air ball, and it's out of bounds with 2 on the shot clock. Canisius gets the stop. Shot clock is off, and they can save for the final shot of the third.
A nice communication there on the defensive end by Jabril. You saw her switch onto the block and just really rotating. Canisius is playing so fluid right now, offense and defense.
They're looking to add to their 14-point lead with the final possession of the third quarter. 10 seconds left in the third. The ball in the hands of Jaela Johnson, guarded by Grace John. Pappas meets her. Johnson steps back for 3 and misses. And that's the end of the third quarter. Canisius keeps their 14-point lead as we hit the fourth. 49-35, the Golden Griffins have the advantage. Out rebounding Sacred Heart by 19.
Shariah Gale is just going to work inside the paint. 5 points, 10 rebounds, but just really crashing the boards hard every single time.
Nyseer Pryor leading the way for the Pioneers with 15 points, but just 6 for 17 from the floor. Sacred Heart at 29% in field goal shooting and 0 for 11 from deep today. Canisius has attempted 10 three-pointers, made 5 of them. Emma Kirby has a chance for a three-point play, a little drop step in the paint, the basket and the foul.
They need to feed Emma Kirby the ball a lot more inside the paint, because here's why. She could just truck right through people with her physicality, the body control that she has, but also it's her efficiency, 55% from the field.
Personal foul number 3 on Jabril. She goes to the bench in favor of Sarah Carvajal-Caro. Kirby sinks the free throw, and the Pioneers are within 11. Time left with 9:40 to go. Koppel picks up her dribble. 10 to shoot for Canisius. High to low underneath for Sanogo. Nearly stolen by John. 5 on the shot clock. Driving baseline for the reverse layup. It's no good for Wittenberg. And the rebound ripped down by Kirby. Amelia Wood. She draws Sanogo and then throws it away. Here it comes. Make a play, Donna.
I wanted to catch it.
Right to us here in the press row.
And that's been one of the problems for Sacred Heart. They ball watch a lot when somebody's driving to the basket. That's where you have to have some off-ball movement, especially right there. Amelia Wood on the block. She's stuck. You want to give her an option to pass to.
Nyseer Pryor checks back into the game here in the fourth. Canisius by 11. Carvajal-Caro going up against Kirby. Back outside, Franco Wittenberg averaging just under 10 points a game. The kick from the corner. Koppel's three is short. Wood with the rebound. Ahead to Pryor on the fast break. Pryor leaves it for Johnson. And the Pioneers' deficit is down to single digits. It's a 9-point lead for Canisius at 49-40.
Pryor just knows where her teammates are. Literally, Sierra Johnson right behind her, gets the pass to her. And this is where growth comes for Canisius, especially in that Fairfield game. They had a good first half, not so great second.
Sanogo with a hook shot off the glass over Wood for two.
She steals hard for position, and she can finish over both shoulders, and that's exactly what she's doing right now.
Back to an 11-point advantage for Canisius, 51-40. Nicira Pryor, crossover, drawing contact at the free throw line, stops the clock with 7:53 to go, and gives Pryor a trip to the free throw line.
Lots of game left here for Sacred Heart. 11-point lead for Canisius. If Nicira Pryor continues to stay aggressive along with Sierra Johnson, get themselves to the free throw line.
Gales in for Canisius. Dudley re-enters for the Pioneers. Pryor misses the free throw. 3 for 6 from the line today. Santoro committing her second personal to give Pryor the trip to the line. She goes 1 for 2, and it's a 10-point game.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sacred Heart comes out with a full court press. When they did do that, they found some success.
It's against the Canisius team that subs in quick, so they've got more in the tank for the fourth quarter to handle that press if the Pioneers should go to it. Grace John commits the foul, trying to rip it out of the hands of Franka Wittenberg.
Nice aggression by Grace John, just trying to apply some ball pressure, but gets called for the foul.
Second personal on John as Jabril enters for Sanogo. Jaela Johnson inbound. Jabril fresh off the bench, drives on Kirby. Kirby sticks with her. Jabril picks up her dribble. She finds Jaela Johnson outside with 10 to shoot. Gale sets the screen. Johnson drives and kicks. Wittenberg, one more pass to Santoro for 3. No good. Jabril with a box out. Wittenberg with a rebound. Underneath to Jabril, then back on out to Jaela Johnson.
And that's what's been separating Canisius, these extra effort plays, giving themselves more possessions.
30 offensive rebounds tonight for Canisius. Jaela Johnson fires the pass to a wide open corner 3 for Wittenberg. Franka Wittenberg opens up a 13-point lead for Canisius. The 6th three-point basket today for the Golden Griffins. Pryor goes down hard. Drawing the foul line, Shariah Gales.
You look at Shariah Gales trying to come across and defend that. Definitely brings her hand down on that foul. Right here, Nicira Pryor attacking the basket, and Gales just brings her arms down. And these free throws are going to be crucial, Randy, especially down the stretch. 6 minutes and 41 seconds left. When you're down, you've got to be able to knock down some free throws.
Sacred Heart now 9 for 15 from the free throw line. Pryor goes 1 for 2. She has 17 points tonight. And it's a 12-point lead for Canisius. Irene Ray Pineda enters the game as Jaela Johnson takes a break. The clock didn't start correctly, so that's why the stoppage.
I do want to know here, Canisius shooting 44% from the field, 42% from the three-point line, and they've been playing some pretty good defense, and that's just a formula for success right there.
Pryor looking for the steal, trying to talk her way into it. Pryor was going for her 7th steal tonight.
That's what Pryor does. It's no surprise every game, whether on offense, defense, she doesn't have a night off.
9th in the country coming into today. And with 6 steals, up to 63 on the season. Wittenberg heating up here in the second half, but she opens up a look for 3. No good for Irene Ray Pineda, and the Pioneers look to push Pryor for John, who's playing a lot of minutes tonight. Nalise Dudley straight away for 3, way off the mark. The Pioneers 0 for 12 from deep.
They just needed a three-pointer, something to give them that momentum shift.
0 for 12 before that three-point attempt, up to 0 for 13 tonight. Carmen Williams enters in favor of Grace John. Personal foul number 3 whistled against Grace John to give Canisius the ball, up by 12 with under 6 to play. Team foul number 2 for Shu here in the 4th. Ray Pineda feeds it to the block. Underneath, and the left-hand lay-in is good for Shariah Gales.
Wittenberg making some good reads, driving baseline, and then just kicking it out to Gales.
It's a 14-point lead for Canisius. Pryor around Kirby's screen. Sierra Johnson lost the dribble nearly. She finds Pryor. A deep 3 is good before the shot clock. That's the first three-pointer tonight for the Pioneers. Nice, Sierra Pryor brings the Pioneers within 11 with 5 to go.
One and only three-point shot for Sacred Heart in this game. But can they string along some stops?
On the backdoor cut, the reverse layup no good for Ray Pineda.
That's what Ray Pineda does. She moves without the basketball, finds those lanes, the backdoor cuts.
The possession stays with Canisius, but they're going to need a couple if they want to string a comeback together.
And that was a huge bucket, down 11 points. Look, they need to slow down Canisius' offense and play quick, get some quick hitters.
Fresh 20 on the shot clock for Canisius, keeping the possession as the inbound comes to Gales, and she knocks down the baseline jump shot.
And those are the type of easy baskets that you can give up, especially Gales, who's been efficient from the floor.
Dudley driving on Jabril, and the foul is on Jabril. That's 4 personals on Jabril. So off to the bench she goes. Carvajal Caro in.
Despite the 4 personal fouls for Jabril, I do want to highlight how crucial she's been for this Canisius team. Just the real estate she's covered inside the paint, the presence that she's brought, the physicality, kind of doing it on both ends of the floor. You look at Jabril right here, gets caught with that foul, and Dudley able to draw herself a free trip to the line.
2 points for Nalise Dudley. An 11-point lead again for Canisius. Johnson with a handoff. Wittenberg has had a good second half. Keeps the basketball. Jaela Johnson against Sierra Johnson. She slings it inside. The fadeaway spins out. No good for Carvajal Caro. Pryor with a rebound. Ahead to Amelia Wood. Dudley draws a foul. That stops the clock with 4:08 left in regulation.
And that's one of the best ways to put some numbers on the board is stopping the clock, get yourself to the free throw line, and Nalise Dudley staying aggressive, especially that baseline drive right there, and just drawing a foul.
Gales goes to the bench. Gales 1 point away from a double-double. 9 points, 11 rebounds. And Dudley is well short on the free throw. Now 12 of 19 as a team from the free throw line.
The rebounding discrepancy has been huge. 41 for Canisius and 23 for Sacred Heart.
Dudley goes 1 for 2. 4:08 left, and it's a 10-point game. Pryor with urgency out on Johnson. She finds Wittenberg. Sonogo clearing some space for her. Ray Pineda out of the reach of Sonogo. Out of bounds. The Pioneers get the stop.
A good idea by Pineda, but just a little bit too much hair on that pass.
Shoe down 10. Pryor's going to let it roll to half court. Every second precious. 3:40 left in the fourth. Pryor pulls up. Wood for Johnson. Inside to Kirby. Looking outside. Dudley a three. Back rim. Canisius gets the stop. Wittenberg with a rebound. Sonogo's underneath. All alone. She lets Wood go by and lays it in.
In that prior possession, that was the best ball movement I've seen from Sacred Heart. But then on the other end, just not getting a stop.
Kirby underneath gets the dish from Pryor for the lay-in. Back to a 10-point game coming up on 3 minutes left.
Especially when Pryor gets some ball screen actions and she gets downhill, she's able to get those dump-offs to Emma Kirby.
Jaela Johnson, count the basket and the foul. Just enough touch on the scoop shot. Playing through the contact of Dudley, and Jaela Johnson is up to 20 points in the game, looking for 21.
As much as Jaela Johnson is dropping buckets, 20 points, but also 5 assists, you just shows she's had an all-around game, whether that's finding her teammates, getting some steals, getting some stops defensively, just doing it all for this team.
Efficiency from the floor, 7 for 10. She can't convert on the three-point play, but Canisius is up by 12. Time on their side with under 3 minutes left. Sierra Johnson with 15 on the shot clock. Amelia Wood at the top of the key. Drives. Wood forces the pass underneath, and Wittenberg comes away with it. Jaela Johnson underneath for Sonogo. Another basket and the foul for the Golden Griffins.
Even when Sacred Heart has tried to make a run, Canisius just responds every time, and Sonogo finishing strong. She's hyped up right now.
Canisius, a team with 15 new players, only returning 3 players. Their head coach, Tiffany Swafford, saying they expected rough times, up and down moments, but they are trying to get right for February, and tonight in late January, everything's going right for them.
That's the goal for every team.
Sierra Johnson draws a foul on Jaela Johnson on a deep shot. And was she behind the line? Looks like her foot was on the line when she took the shot. Esther Kersite checks in as Sierra Johnson goes to the line. She does get 3 shots. It looked like her foot was on the line, but they're going to award her 3 foul shots.
I thought she was too, but
let's see. Foot behind the arc when she's fouled. Sure is.
Yep. And that's why we're not the refs.
That's right. They called a really strong game tonight. One thing I have noted covering the MAC this year for the first year, the officiating really has been outstanding.
I completely agree. And officiating is not easy by any means.
Sierra Johnson goes 1 for 3 from the foul line, and the woes continue. You go 1 for 15 from deep, and you leave a bunch of free points on the free throw line.
And to that point, Randy, you can imagine being this a completely different game if Sacred Heart wasn't 1 for 15 from the three-point line.
It's a 14-point game. They've missed 8 free throws. 9 free throws now is the live stats update. missed 9 free throws in a 15-point game. You're talking about, you make half of them, 3-possession game, and it makes Canisius operate their offense maybe a little differently for much of the second half.
And those are things you can control. You can't always control your shots falling, but you can control the rebounding, the free throws. At least that's the mental side of it. But there's things that Sacred Heart is going to have to continue working on, whether that's taking care of the basketball or just continue moving the ball to find better quality looks.
Carvajal Caro goes 1 for 2, and it's a 15-point lead for Canisius. Quick turnaround. They head to Poughkeepsie to take on Marist this weekend. Red Foxes right in the middle of the pack. 4-3 in MAC play, along with Mount St. Mary's and St. Peter's. Sacred Heart, meanwhile, looking at a 1-7 record in conference play. They had a chance to earn a tiebreaker against Canisius, who they beat in their last win 5 games ago up in Buffalo. Tiebreaker's big if you end up with the same record and fighting for that 10th spot.
There's time left for Sacred Heart to turn things around here. They just have to be able to build on from these games and learn from their mistakes.
Sacred Heart hosts Niagara on Saturday. Jaela Johnson, her season high, 6 off of her career high. Her 20 points today. Canisius winding down the clock. An air ball 3 from Jaela Johnson. Diane Crespo-Lopez the rebound. Fighting her way up into the front court against Wittenberg. Grace John running the point. 20 minutes today from Grace John.
Even though she hasn't knocked down any shots, but you got to show her some love. I thought she was good on the defensive end at least and staying aggressive on offense.
Crespo-Lopez pulls up short. Sacred Heart at 31% from the floor tonight. Canisius at 46%. Sierra Johnson commits her fourth personal foul. Subs in for Canisius, Cornaya Clay, and Mary Koppel. Off to the bench, Jaela Johnson.
What's such a huge advantage and plus for Canisius, we talk about the deep bench that they have, the rotations, all these different players getting playing time experience. And that is so different. Even though you're playing in practice, you can't emulate what happens in a game. So these are huge minutes for every player that's going in and out.
Wittenberg goes 1 for 2. She has 9 points. Jabril heads to the bench. An effective night, 8 points, 4 rebounds in 22 minutes. Diane Crespo-Lopez trapped underneath. Grace John passed up the 3 to get it inside to Dudley. To her right for the lay-in. Now Elise Dudley into double figures with 11. 3 for 6 from the floor. 30 seconds left in this one. Canisius led by 14 at the half, and they're up 14 in the final clicks of the clock.
What an effort by Canisius. Especially with all these new players that they have, a new head coach, new system, and trying to put everything together.
And a great rebound effort after really being run out of the gym by Fairfield. They played Fairfield tough for a half. Crespo-Lopez misses the 3. They ended up losing that one 97-51 after beating Iona in their previous game, but they're going to be the winners tonight on the road. Final score, Canisius 67, Sacred Heart 53. Golden Griffins get their 4th win of the year. More importantly now, 3-5 in the MAC.
I'm loving the